Check, check. Okay, check. All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to everybody that's usually here at SOTR. Welcome to the contestants from Pitch Deck, JA, and special welcome to our guests. So I'll just invite our guest speakers to come up. I want to invite Mrs. Strong and Chris Young. Rose amongst the thorns. So again, thanks. So we are streaming live on YouTube and Twitter Spaces. So we're live on Twitter, but we're live on Twitter Spaces as well. Uh, Thank you so much for coming out. Hmm. Okay, good. Okay, so thank you so much for coming out, Mrs. Strong. Thank you so much for coming out, Chris. Good, Chris is good. All right, Chris is good. So I will just allow the guests to introduce. So first, let me introduce myself. I'm Simon Johnson, the founder of Stocks on the Rocks. Stocks on the Rocks is a financial literacy platform which we've created to have more inclusive spaces to have healthy conversations about money, right? So it's very important to us. We've spoken to thousands of prospective, new, and mature investors across Jamaica from the primary, high school level, tertiary, and working people as well. The aim is really to ensure that financial literacy conversations become commonplace in Jamaica. A part of the reason why we started Harbor Talk, was really to um, create another space in which, can I say, the average investor can have conversations with executives of listed companies and unlisted companies that own listed companies as well. So that's the premise behind this type of conversation. And I must say that there's no other interview in Jamaica that has a backdrop like this of the Kingston Harbor. It's really amazing. I really want to big up our sponsors. Digital Sikemal is here. Digital is one of the best marketing 360 marketing companies in Jamaica. Big up First Rock Private Equity for coming on. One of the largest, and I guess we'll figure out how large they are tonight. Private equity funds in Jamaica, and of course, Dequity was been here with us for a while. Another very large private equity fund. So I'll just allow the guests to introduce themselves, ladies before gentlemen.
Thank you, and congratulations on what you're doing. Fantastic cause. Yes, so I'm Michelle Chung, and I'm the CEO of Honeybun and the founder of the Honeybun Foundation. So, Honeybun is a public company, as you probably all know, and we've just been greatly blessed with the people that we have. Amazing people. And the foundation has Nashona Lala, who is here with me this evening. She's our general manager, and that's my baby, and that's my passion. So thank you for having us here this evening.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello. Yes. Hi. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to thank Simon for inviting me here. Mrs. Strong, thank you for also coming. Distinguished guests, I see some colleagues here from work. Thanks for coming out on your Friday. My name is Chris Young, and I am the co-founder and managing director for First Rock Private Equity. I'm also a proud advisor for the Honeybun Foundation. And I'm also a junior, I'm a mentor for the Junior Stock Exchange. And, before Simon starts raining down his questions, I just wanted to get something off my chest for everyone here. About 8 to 9 months after graduating college, I was searching for a job. I couldn't find a job, almost maybe 1 year. No one would take a risk on me as a college graduate looking for their first job. And Mrs. Strong here was the only one to take a risk on me. So, this is a full circle special moment for me. Mrs. Strong hired me for my first job. I was working at Honeybun, and I was a filing clerk.
He wasn't a risk.
I hope sometime tonight she'll say that I was the best filing clerk at Honeybun. So thank you, Mrs. Strong, for being here. She is one of the most respected entrepreneurs, and just to sit beside her tonight is truly special to me. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. You are
Yes,
special to us too. You still are.
excellent. So, Chris, I didn't know that you not just mentored junior market companies, but you're a mentor for the foundation as well.
Yes.
Now we're going to get into why we need an investments person to mentor a foundation, and I think I kind of want to start on that. Um, Tell us a bit about how the Honeybun Foundation was started and some of the activities that you've done.
Boy, that's the question I love to answer. Yes, so the foundation started because I remember the year they asked me to be the president of the Jamaica Exporters Association. And I was like, why me? Why me? But God had it in his plans that I would be. And I said, show me a sign. And the sign was clear. And when I went there, it was really good because the staff were so supportive. Then, as I learned more about what was happening, it occurred to me that we were not, as Jamaicans, focusing enough on export, and we were definitely not focusing on building our SMEs. So, as much as many people talk about the support for SMEs, I never saw it enough. I didn't see where they were actually being helped. I saw a lot of other things, but they weren't really being helped. So I advocated a lot for getting them the support, and I was instrumental in merging the Jamaica Exporters Association, the Jamaica Manufacturers Association. I'm big on collaboration, and I believed that together they would be bigger, and they are through the JMEA now. And so I'm very happy for that. And by the time we were at the JMEA, I realized I had a passion for doing specific things for SMEs. And I said, you know what, guys, I'm going to do this on my own through a foundation where I didn't have to go through permissions, so to speak.
Red tape and
Red tape, nothing. It was just me and my dream. And as it happened, the dreams I had for the foundations were the ones I had when I was at the JEA as well. And I found our directors. We have fantastic directors, godsend directors, and Shauna can tell you too. And we clicked. They understood the vision for these SMEs. And so we decided we wanted to help SMEs, but in a different way. It wasn't a one-one help for them. It was developing business models. Because I was in business. I learned so much over the years I was in Honeybun. So we wanted to share what works for businesses. So if we could share what works for businesses, in my opinion, and this is my big dream, because Nashana told me this evening we have to start dreaming bigger. I said, no, my dream is for Jamaica to become like a Singapore through these programs that we're going to be putting out. So we developed 3 of 4 models, and we're about to launch our 4th model, and they're very exciting. I don't know if I should tell you about them now and take up all the time, but you could ask me about them.
Give us the 10,000 feet.
The 10,000
very high
feet
level.
is that these models become what SMEs in Jamaica use to become exponentially rich. And when I say that, I'm not talking about getting them a little better. And one of our biggest areas, which we have not had enough time with, is the creative industries. We believe that the creative industry is Jamaica's most competitive advantage. We can't compete in manufacturing, and we can't compete in finance. Sorry, we can't compete in technology. But Jamaica has so many talented people. But these talented people don't know how to make their talent into a business. So that is what our ambition is this year. Over the last 2 years, we've worked a lot with SMEs, and we've made a lot of SMEs understand business and business models more through our training calendar, or GAP app, which is on the phone. It's an app. And our advisory committee, which
Gap
Chris is,
app?
yes.
Oh.
A GAP app is an app you use on your phone to evaluate your business. So you answer questions in maybe 3 minutes, and you will get an analysis of how your company is operating, what are the weaknesses in your business. And while this is a good thing for the companies to know, because they will know what they didn't know before. They don't know what they don't know. So here they are doing this gap app with these questions, and they will know. So even coming on to get advice from our mentors, one company has 3 advisors. Chris and 2 other advisors advise one SME. So they're getting 3 advisors, 3 amazing advisors through First Rock. I think, the advisors are what we call nation builders, because they give their time freely and they have so much experience. We have Ricardo Durant, who is from Jampro, and we have a lot of other heads of companies who just want to give back, give to Jamaica. And this is what bonds all of us at the foundation, because we share this vision for Jamaica. So my big vision, Simon, is to be about getting Jamaica to the next level and earning more, having our creative industry stop living like they're poor. We want to be like, in my opinion, like LA, where the creative industries, the actresses are the wealthy people. That's my dream, Nashana. That's it. That's where I'm going. So we're going to get this done. And we are so proud of the momentum that we're making and the stride that we're making. And that's my dream, to have creative industries become business people, earning revenues, small business with talents, because all of them have so much talent. I tell them they have a great hobby. Now let's get your hobby into a business. And so that is what Chris is doing. We have 21 advisors and 7 small businesses that we're supporting this year. And there's so much excitement around it. The small businesses are so excited. The advisors are so excited. Sometimes we call up each other. We tell each other what's happening in the different companies we're working with. But the big thing about it is what I want to share. This is not a model that the foundation wants to use to earn revenue. We don't earn revenues. We want other associations to adopt the model so that they can also help 7 companies. And if all the associations are to continue to help, then we're going to grow exponentially, because we have a proven model for how to build these small businesses so that they will also become big businesses. We have 1 or 2 that we have our eyes on to go on the stock exchange within the next 2 years. So this is what our ambition is, to get companies up and running, making money, creative industries, making money, and a better Jamaica because of it.
No, so thanks for that, Mrs. Strong. And so the contestants on pitch deck may realize that tonight might have been by design. So pitch deck JA is another program which SOTR started alongside Paul Simpson, who's the head of Cornerstone. He's put up 15 million Jamaican dollars of his own money to share between 5 winners of the pitch deck competition. That $15 million is through grant funding, which means that we aren't taking equity. This is just sharing with the businesses that need capital. Now, beyond that, and I'm happy it aligns some of the things that you
Always
said.
does.
It's more than, so small businesses, small and medium businesses need more than capital. They need support. So I think the more important part of what pitch deck is planning to do with the businesses is to ensure that each and every one of the businesses that are winners, and I tell the guys that it doesn't even matter if you win the competition, because the exposure that you get from it will be important. We will be providing free of cost the business support services that we're able to provide to them. So we will be tapping them into Paul's network and the SOTR network for legal experts, marketing strategists, operations specialists, etc., to ensure that we can impart our value, not just from giving them capital, but we can impart value from actually growing their sales and trying to push them not just from selling here, but beyond Jamaica as well, which is you where your expertise is as well. I want to bring in Chris. So Chris, this sounds like it's just up your alley because you are the CEO of First Rock Private Equity. Firstly, what is First Rock Equity? Which companies do you currently own? And tell me a bit about how we heard about the origin story, but how you as Chris, the CEO and co-founder of First Rock Private Equity, ties into what is being done at the Honeybone Foundation.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. That good question. And I think Mrs. Strong, kind of hit the nail on the head. During my tenure just working, I realized that SMEs are really the engine of Jamaica. They're the engine of the economy. They're the heartbeat. SMEs really, they're the companies that are growing. They're the companies that are hiring people. They're the innovative companies. So the strategy behind First Rock Private Equity is to invest, to provide smart capital to the SMEs in Jamaica and outside of Jamaica. Our investment thesis is a growth thesis where we invest in companies that are inefficient, that are companies that need a hands-on active management approach where we go in and we get our hands dirty. And if I need to even interview someone with the course, the CEO, whatever it takes, we get our hands dirty with SMEs. We don't just invest and tell me, I'm looking forward to the dividends or, show me the results, send me the quarterly financial statements. That's our motto or our vision kind of at First Private Equity. We really support our SMEs once we invest. And that led me to partner and I realized it's very important for the advisory side of it as well. So that what led me to speak to Mrs. Chong and be a part of the advisory.
Excellent. Thanks, Chris. How many companies has First Rock Private Equity invested in thus far?
Yeah, so we started in January 2021. Before that, I was at Proven. Quit my job actually during COVID to pursue this dream. We purchased Dollar Financial Services, which I think everyone should probably know by now. Kadeen is somewhere watching. But yeah, we purchased Dollar first. That's which we had invested a little bit over 1 million US, and then we listed Dollar on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, on the Junior Jamaica Stock Exchange. About a year later, we purchased My Ocean, which is a Bahamian company that does soap, ceramics, and candles. And then just recently, I think it's on the 10th of February of this year. It's kind of funny that every year I seem to be doing an acquisition. So I'm actually really happy about that acquisition. I'm bullish again. We purchased a company called Optimum Trading, and they specialize in supplying medical and dental equipment in Jamaica. So Simon, overall, we have 3 companies that do different things. All SMEs, all have employees between 0 and 50, and we're very excited about all 3 of them.
What are the synergies between well is Chris, so Chris is kind of separate from First Rock here because you're an advisor separately to Honeybone Foundation. But what are the synergies that you're seeing between Mrs. Strong's 7 companies that she's kind of bringing through the stages and First Rock Private Equity, which is kind of set up as an outfit to capitalize and monetize?
Well, yeah. So SMEs need growth and advisory. So how I view the Honeybone Foundation is as an incubator. We need more of the Honeybone Foundations. We need more, we need the Branson Centers. We need more of these initiatives to help out the micro and the small from the SME, small and medium-sized enterprises. So that's really where the collaboration and the synergy comes from, is that we need to help these SMEs get to a level. Like Mrs. Strong said, a lot of these individuals are talented, but they're not they don't know how to run a business. So there's a major difference there. You can be very talented. You can be the best carpenter in Jamaica, but if you start a carpentry business, it's a lot different. So that's what I think Mrs. Strong mentioned. We need the support, and that's really the synergy between advisory, the foundation, and First Rock Private Equity.
So, Mrs. Strong, you guys are aligned on that. You can see where, and you said it before, that there's some possibility that these companies may list on the stock exchange in the future. Now, Honbon is a foundation which has a unique structure. So my understanding and correct me where I'm off is that you don't invest in them. So how do you get capital into the companies? Do you need a partner like First Rock Private Equity?
We definitely could use them.
Okay.
Our plan is private sector to support what we're doing, because it's the private sector that has to grow Jamaica. So once they contribute, we're able to do more and more. And one of the things that the foundation is very firm on is we're a non-competitive attitude. We collaborate. So whatever Chris is doing, we don't consider, well, it's not even competitive, because we give free service as a foundation, and they may charge, although they look like they give a lot of service. But it's about what we're doing. So we could be preparing persons for that realm.
So you have a private investor group
Yes.
that assess with that
That's the
assists
private
with them.
sector, yes.
Okay,
And
understood.
Honeybun, of course, is the biggest
Oh,
sponsor.
so that's a perfect segue into Honeybun, right? So Honeybun has a very large balance sheet. You know, I guess probably I'd like to start with. So Honeybun's balance sheet has long surpassed $1 billion in assets. This is a business that you started from scratch.
Yes.
As I think probably half of the people that I'm seeing in the crowd are entrepreneurs themselves.
Okay.
How do you build $1 billion business in 5 minutes?
In
So
5 minutes?
so
You
how,
can't build
yeah,
it in
tell
5 minutes.
tell us in 5 minutes
Okay.
how Mrs. Chang built that $1 billion+ business.
Well, I think if I had to bring it down to probably just a few things, one of them would be governance. Governance, I feel, has always worked for us. A lot of Jamaicans operate business under the table. It's very informal economy. You can't grow like that, in my opinion. You have to do the right thing, even if it feels hard. You just have to go through the hard things and do it. So before we went on the stock exchange, our auditor said to us, Michelle, you can go on the stock exchange. You're already doing everything a public company would do. We were doing our accounts or finance or reporting. We had a board
At the
of
subcommittees.
yes, we had everything. So he was like, and it wasn't because somebody told me how to do that. It just felt like the right thing as we were growing, just to keep doing the right thing. So I encourage businesses to really, governance is something that people don't really understand. When they hear it, it just sounds a bit dull, especially SMEs. But it's just about doing the right thing. Because I mean, even before I fully understood what corporate governance was, we were already doing it. You just have to do the right thing. And when you have to pay taxes, just celebrate, because if you're paying taxes, you're making money. Hello. And it allowed us to be able to apply for grants and grow the business. So I would say, you just gotta do the right thing. It's about governance.
So back to so one more step back. So you said that Tony Bun Limited, the company, will also be some way involved in the investment and in these 7 companies to eventually go on the stock exchange in some future time.
I don't want to give anybody any impression that we are planning to invest in them. But if it should happen that there is that opportunity, then we would, because right now we're looking at quite a number of opportunities that have presented themselves to us. And I mean, I have my husband who is here tonight, and 2 of my sons in the business. And we're just very excited to know that we have so many opportunities that have presented themselves. So we're weighing the benefits of each one. And I know you're going to ask what I'm going to use with.
Yes, because well, your business is already public, so I'll say it here. Honeybun Limited now has over $450 million in either cash or investments. So you do have a decent sized portfolio of listed companies. You also have a lot of cash in the company as well. So you're saying if the opportunity presents itself, then Honeybun Limited wouldn't be opposed to
No, we
investing in
wouldn't.
this.
But we
Okay.
have a lot of other significant opportunities that will cost a lot more than just investing in some of these small
Okay,
business.
you're going where I'm going as well. So, on top of the $450 million that you have in cash and investments, as I said before, your balance sheet is way over $1 billion. The company has traditionally had a relatively low level of debt. It seems to be somewhat bootstrapped, meaning the cash goes back in the business and builds
Yes,
it over
yes.
time. Do you have plans to leverage the size balance sheet you have to expand Honeybun's reach either locally or regionally? Do you think Honeybun has kind of maxed out too much
No,
bakeries?
no, not at all. In fact, I've often been criticized for helping other bakeries too,
Mm,
because I so believe in collaboration that I believe that as a country of 3 million, we cannot compete against each other. We're not cockroaches.
mhm,
We can come together and do something bigger for Jamaica. Supposing we get known in Jamaica to be a country for bakeries,
mhm.
so it's about building something bigger than just what we have. So I'm definitely one for export. Honeybun does export now.
Mhm.
The UK is our biggest market, but definitely programs or collaboration that we can do with other companies to export more is one of our primary. But you see, as a bakery, you have to invest a lot, because equipment is very expensive,
Yeah.
space is very expensive. We've bought 3 properties over the last 7 years. We've had to re-outfit for the bakery. Those are very expensive things. So we've spent a lot, but it's
Mhm.
always done us good.
Yeah, water treatment, solar,
Yes.
etc.
Yes. The food safety certification means that you have to do everything right. You have to, if you need to put up tiles, then you have to do it. Change floors, you have to do it. So it's very expensive to run a bakery.
So, are there any other bakeries out there that you see as potential targets for Honeybun, given that you already have the balance sheet, I would say, to
Yes,
acquire
we're
them?
looking at a couple.
Okay, and what's the timeline for this? So I can look at a couple over 20 years. Are you looking at a couple to execute them over a 1 year period?
No, over a year to 3 years.
Okay, a year to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, all right, all right,
Okay,
all
told you
right.
enough.
Chris, I guess I'll bring you in here as well, and come back to Honeybone. We don't know the Honeybone as yet.
Mhm.
Chris, first rock, just to ask you straight, how big is your balance sheet?
Our balance sheet is about 20 million US right now.
Okay, 20 million US, so well over $1 billion.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Actually, over $2 billion. All right, very sizable. And I suspect that dollar is a large part of the balance sheet.
Yeah, dollar is a large part of the on balance sheet and
Mhm.
off balance sheet, as you know. Dollar is also the market cap on dollar is significant
Yeah.
as well.
So, Chris, we have a question for you. So we've been waiting to have you in the hot seat because a few years ago, when First Rock, the related company First Rock, bought dollar from another company, right? Bought the majority stake in dollar from another company. That was done at, let's say, an okay amount. But First Rock Private Equity came in and bought it at how much?
Yeah, so good. It's a good question.
No, me not done the question yet. So you came in and you bought it.
So we bought it at 1.1 million
You
US.
bought it at $1.1 million, and within a year, First Dollar Financial listed on the stock exchange at a $2.5 billion valuation, which is about 16 million US dollars. So I hear somebody in the crowd in the crowd clapping. So Chris, what I guess generally investors would like to know is if First Rock Private Equity thought that when they bought dollar initially they were buying it at a significantly lower price than they should have.
Yeah, so it's a good question, Simon. So I've been waiting to explain this to the market for some time and to clarify it. So just to recap, we purchased 75% of Dollar Financial Services from First Rock Real Estate. Um, and we purchased it for 1.1 million US. How we came about with that price, it was, we had employed Ernest and Young, who did an independent valuation, and we used that independent valuation. They provided us with a range, and we purchased it. That 1.1 million was within the range. So we really treat those transactions very seriously, and we take transparency very seriously. In my opinion, if it was undervalued or overvalued, that price, I would have said it would have been overvalued. The simple reason that when we purchased dollar in 2021, we're coming out of COVID. There was a lot of loans on dollar's balance sheet that was skewed to the hotel sector, right? There was a lot of uncertainty in the market with COVID. At the time, too, dollar was only making 20 million Jamaican for the year ended 2020
in profits.
in profits. Don't quote me, but it's about that range. So I mean, using all of that, the multiple that we paid, and this is my opinion again, the multiple that we paid for that investment was about 10 times, which is outside of our typical single-digit range. So there was a long negotiation on the purchase, and at that time, with all the headwinds ahead of us, with micro lending and the microcredit act coming out, I thought it was a overvalued price. How we got to 16 million, that's our next question, right?
Yeah. And I'll just add some context there to say that the negotiations that you were having was with First Rock Real Estate, which is a related party company. So the assumption here was that there was some Chinese wall there between what they're selling it for and what you were buying it for. Now to move on to the next portion of the question, how did you turn that, call it a 1 million US dollar company, into a 16 million US dollar company within 1 year to list?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, the approach that First Rock Private Equity does is an active management approach. So we really got our hands dirty. So between flying to Guyana, Suriname, Bahamas with Kadeen, fundraising, we did a bunch of fundraising in the same year. We raised some money from Grace Kennedy. We then got some additional funding from Derrimon. We hired C-level executives. You name it. There's a long checklist, and I don't think we have enough time tonight, but there's a lot of things that we had put in place to really get to that valuation. And we didn't pick that valuation out of a hat. We, for the entire year, our vision, the board of directors, the management team, our vision was just to list on the Jamaica Stock Exchange junior market. So we did our best. And at the end of 2021, our profits came from, 2020, like I mentioned, it was 20 million. And in 2021, we hit a magical number of 167 million. So we did that within 12 months. And we went to our broker, VM, and we said, we're ready to go. And, they presented us with a valuation of, like he's mentioned, 2.5 billion. So, we signed, and, the rest is history.
Yeah, okay. From what I remember, from the prospectus, some of those things were stated, and it was really because of the size of the loan book. So the amount of capital that you would have put in there, and of course, Kadeen would have issued out loans for that, and the income from that fed into your net profitability. Okay, so out of the portfolio companies that you have now, the three, are there, well, do you have any intentions to list them, and over what period?
Yeah, so the strategy for us is simple. It's not rocket science. We buy companies, we build them, and we sell them. By selling, we can list on the stock exchange, we can sell privately. The preferred exit for us is the stock exchange. So we've listed dollar already. We plan to list My Ocean as well in the Bahamas. And we also plan to list Optimum.
So you plan to list My Ocean on the Jamaica Stock Exchange?
Correct.
Okay. Over what time period?
So that's
I'm not letting it go so easy, Chris.
Yeah, that's fine. So private equity, it's not as simple as we're gonna list them in 12 months or 24 months, or these things take time. Dollar was just probably a unicorn that we got it done so quickly. My Ocean is taking a longer time.
Okay.
So
Optimum,
it depends on where the level of the company is. on the checklist for the Jamaica Stock Exchange, but I think we can do optimum a lot quicker. I mean, we're aiming for 14 to 12 to 14 months.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Chris, are coming back to you, Mrs. Strong. So there's been a burning question about honey bun as well. So great financial statements, all right? Solid asset base, solid equity. The company has continued to perform, but about last year, the company's price peaked at about $12. Since then, the stock price has been coming down. Don't has management noticed this? And is there anything that management is looking to put in place to um, help to support the share price?
Well, I think, Simon, you will notice that it's not, it's not just Honeybun. It's when
Mhm.
all ships rise. When the
Mhm.
ocean rise, all ships rise.
Mhm.
So we do not focus intently on our stock price. We focus intently on our business performance. So we don't lose sleep over the stock price. Once the company does well, it will come back up. So that's not our primary concern every day. I know you guys who are in this business, you look at it every day, but we look at the business performance every day, every day.
If I was let's say I was the 80% shareholder in Honeybone, and Honeybone has a pretty significant market cap. Matter of fact, you should be graduate. I'll ask you that. Ask you that after. Um, I don't. I think I check it every day. So, I'm up 300 million today. So nice. Or I'm down 250 million today. But Honeybone would have listed on the stock exchange over 10 years ago,
Yes.
right? So that means that you've passed the period. I wouldn't even say to be on the stock exchange, because my understanding is that you can choose
Yes.
to stay
I think yeah, you can
for a
delist
period of
probably
time.
another 3 years or so.
I-
You could
Is
delist after the first 10 years.
is Honeybun choosing to stay on the junior market strategic? Why not graduate to the main market?
That's a discussion that we have very often. We haven't come to that as yet. We're looking
Okay.
at all the pros and cons
Mhm.
and what's going to be best for the company. These days, you
What
can't
are some of
even
the
know
pros?
some of the
Because
pros.
I've been guessing some of the pros, but I'm not a CEO. So yeah.
Well, like I've told a few people, I've really enjoyed being on the junior market
Mhm.
because I like the level of accountability. It goes with good governance. It makes you stronger and better as a company. So to continue,
Mhm.
especially because part of the reason why we listed was
Mhm.
because it's a family business, and we find that governance is very important in family business,
Mhm.
is that it will continue to be there for the children in the business.
Mhm.
So that's an important thing for us.
Estate planning
Yes.
type of a thing.
Estate plannings, continuity, succession, etc. under in good governance, not the management will remain the same, especially with a
Okay.
strong board. So that's one
Who's
of
your
the
successor?
our successor
Yes.
in terms of
Well,
CEO.
who's yes in terms of
Yeah,
CEO
well, our COO, who is our
would be
oldest
the
son, Daniel Chung, he would be at
okay.
this moment the one for
All right,
succession.
Daniel, so big shoes to fill. All right. Thank you for that, Mrs. Trump. So effectively, you're saying that though you have realized that the share price has been coming down,
Yes.
management doesn't necessarily place specific emphasis. Mrs. Strong, I'm gonna beat you up,
Okay,
I'm gonna,
well,
I'm gonna beat you
you
up
have
over
to
that
take
stay.
hard lick sometimes.
So doesn't necessarily
we
place.
go and we look at capacity every day, we look at efficiency every day. That's the things we look at. How efficient are we at 92? Between
Mhm,
92% and 95% is a big thing for us.
mhm,
That's what we look at, efficiency. And we look at other things, not like you guys who are in the stock market.
mhm,
I mean, we get it every day and we look at it, but the meaning isn't there as much for us. What we save in terms of money is what we look at. I got a report this week, and my team had done some new changes, and they had come to us and they sent the report on how much money they've saved, how much millions of dollars they've saved. That's what we wake up to and look forward to every day.
What's your best selling product? Is it the cinnamon roll?
Yeah, one of our best, or
Oh, really?
donuts too.
The
Yeah.
donuts, them?
Mm-hmm.
The
Okay,
shorty
Mm-hmm.
so
bread is good too.
the shorty bread. Okay, okay, all right, all right. I won't say I'm a big fan, but you know, I eat it once in a while, you know,
Yeah.
every day or so. But yeah, but yeah, man, yeah. Man. So moving into the products and what you can share. Are there any new products that are
We have a couple on the
coming on the
table.
market?
We have a couple on the table. Yes.
Okay, and those are on the what I'd say sweet pastry side, or
Yeah.
can you say?
Well, at least one, maybe more than one of them, is being looked at more for the export market because it's a product that our distributors have been hounding us for a
Mhm,
while. So we're just finalizing that product, and
mhm.
when that takes off, it will do extremely well because their demand is amazing. So we're looking forward to that.
Okay, excellent. So, Chris, just to jump to you, in February last year, First Rock Private Equity would have announced that they're in discussions. I don't know if this is the right words to use to acquire a petroleum company in Trinidad and Tobago. I realize that isn't on your portfolio of companies. What happened there?
Yes. So in private equity, sometimes half the battle is walking away or avoiding bad deals. And I mean that's just a summary on private equity in general. For this particular transaction, we had a particular structure that we had agreed to with the seller. And in the final stages of the transaction, and if anyone here has done an acquisition, there's a lot of different stages. In the
Mhm.
final stage, the seller didn't conform to the particular structure that we had agreed to. So unfortunately, we had to walk away. That's one that I would have wanted. I really actually wanted to do that transaction. So hopefully, maybe in the future, I can enter into that transaction or that industry. We were really excited about the oil industry at that time. And as you see right now, the oil prices are way up. So we
No,
had that vision prior to what had happened. But we will get them next time.
understood. Do you see First Rock Private Equity raising money privately or maybe publicly anytime soon?
No, so First Rock Private Equity doesn't raise funding. We're not in a fundraising mode right now.
Oh, you're full of cash. Good. Okay. All right. All right.
No, in terms of participating in First Rock Private Equity,
Mhm.
the entry point for our investors. I know we probably have some persons here that are interested in investing. You typically get to invest in our portfolio companies when we list. So, for
Mhm.
instance, when we listed Dollar Financial Services, I believe we had the largest shareholder base of over 15,000. So, what I'm working on for everyone that wants to invest and partner with First Rock Private Equity is to give you an opportunity to invest in our portfolio companies when we list
Mm.
them on the junior stock exchange.
Okay. So you're saying we'll keep the holding company, we'll make the big decisions up here. When we list the companies, you can participate at that level. All right. I want to drift into the fun questions, right? So, Mrs. Strong, outside of Honeybun Foundation, advisory to businesses, what do you do for fun? Don't say baking. So,
Not
anything
allowed.
Honeybun related.
That's a good question.
Mhm.
Okay. I really love gardening.
Okay,
Yes. And I love dancing.
that what type of dancing is it?
Everything.
So you do TikTok dances? I see.
No, I haven't been
You
out
haven't tried
enough.
TikTok dances? Well, okay. So you are more into what type of dancing though?
I
Dancehall.
do love dancehall.
Eh,
Yes.
okay.
Admittedly. Not
Okay.
that I do it so much, but I find the whole beat of it and the whole feeling is just right for me.
I'm conflicted with dancehall, the dancing part. I'm conflicted
Yes.
because I caught the last piece of old dancehall where dancing was simple. Willie Bones,
Yes.
1 2 step, 1 2 3, very, very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, I see man doing calculus when dancing, like different parts of your body and your move
Yeah.
and muscles and
Well,
that. So which side are you on? Are
I'm a,
you on the ding dong side? Are you back on the elephant man voicemail side?
I when we have functions at Honeybun, they wait till I leave to do that. Let me put it to you like that.
Okay, all right, all right,
So
all
they
right.
know what I like and they know what I don't
Eh,
like.
eh. You know what? I won't press it. I kind of have an idea what you're talking about. Chris, what do you do for fun outside of managing the companies and being very busy, such that you resign from dollars board? The thing say you look Chris have a whole heap of work to do. But we'll come into that. Tell me what you do for fun though.
Yeah, I normally do a lot of running. I'm a gym person, so I run some 5Ks.
Some 5Ks like once a year.
No, I probably do like once a week. I was actually looking out here. I've seen a lot of people running and walking around here. It's actually I might consider coming out
Yeah,
here.
my out here is pretty good. I mean, I run 5Ks here all the time. Uh, guys.
Yeah, please invite me. We can do it together.
Yeah, man. So all right, a 5K every week, and that's fun. Like when you put on your clothes and you say, I'm gonna run a 5K, like
So,
you're
so,
excited to do
so
that.
this is how I know you're not a 5K runner, right? Because after you finish running a 5K, there's something called runner's high. It's a really,
But you have to finish to get the high though. So
yeah, it's a really good feeling.
oh boy. All
Yeah.
right. So you into biking?
No, not
Bus?
biking, no,
Oh, so it's just
just running.
just running. Wow, that's that no, to me, Mrs. Strong. That not sound like something you do to relax. You know, that sound like something where put more pressure upon you. You know, where I deliberately go. Anyways, we don't go down this road. Okay, fine. But Chris, I wanted to touch on that last one. I almost forgot it. Somebody asked me to ask you directly. A notice came out today that you resigned from Dollars board as their vice chairman.
Correct.
Yes. What was the rationale behind
Yeah,
that?
so that was strategic. That was always been the plan. Once we acquire a new company, so we had acquired, as I mentioned, Optimum. We have 51% in that company. So the plan has always been to resign from Dollar, and focus on the new acquisition, which is Optimum.
Oh, so this shouldn't be taken as First Rock is looking to possibly leave Dollar and sell the shares or not anything like that.
No, definitely not. We're very happy with Dollar right now. We still own 60%. I think our numbers are coming out.
But Christian must be happy the company value that's several $1 billion. Me da, me da happy as well.
Yeah, so yeah, we're very
Yeah,
happy with Dollar
yeah,
where
man.
we are right now. We're happy with the management team. We're happy with Kadeen and the job he's done. I think
Ultra and
we're happy with Ultra. We're happy with our growth. Our numbers are actually coming out, within the next 48 hours. So what I would advise everyone is just to look out for the numbers.
whose numbers that? That Dollars numbers?
Dollars numbers, yeah.
Okay, I'll look out for that, man. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. So again, I'll just put out to our audience if we just take about 2 questions. If you have any questions, I know there are a lot of business owners here. As I said, the contestants from Pitch Deck are here today. So big up Pitch Deck JA. If you have any questions for Mrs. Chong or Chris, I mean, both of them are, in specific niches in business. So it would be a very good time to ask that. If you have any questions you want to ask, you can come to the mic right here. Any questions at all? Let me check on the Twitter. If there are any questions from the Twitter, you can request to be a speaker if you want to, and I will patch through the audio. So yeah, you can request to be a speaker if you want. Any questions from the crowd? So me ask everything. Them shy, because as soon as the lights off, the man come. Yes, so Mrs. Strong, I heard they said this. So I know somebody down there is saying, how can I join? Oh, so we have a lot of entrepreneurs here today. So you've been speaking very well. Oh, you have a question? All right, one. Let me just finish and you can ask. So you've been speaking, a lot about having kind of a framework within which you can grow businesses exponentially, right? Give them that type of growth. Um, if I'm a business owner, how do I become a part of what your foundation is doing?
So the foundation has a website. It's the honeybunfoundation.com. And you can become a member on the foundation so that you get our emails. But once a year, the second year now, we've put out notices for companies who want to be part of the advisory committee. Sorry, yeah, to have an advisory committee for their company. And so persons would apply. And then we shortlist because we're looking for certain qualities for companies that we are supporting. And we would normally do the questionnaires and selection. And this year we selected 7 amazing companies.
Very, very high level. What are the criteria for those
So the
companies?
criteria is for you to be in business for 2 years, and because it's very different to help startups than it is to help ongoing
It's
businesses.
very involved.
Yes, two very different scenarios. And some of the other criteria are that you understand how to use worksheets, because it's just a part of business, and that you are very passionate about the work that you're doing. It's not just something that, well, it's all right.
So I
No,
guess
we like a lot of passion.
so I guess the passion part is kind of gauged in through an interview process, or
Yes, some of our advisors
Mhm.
will do the interview, and we ask questions that kind of bring that out.
Okay, thank you. So we have a question from the crowd.
Yes. Good night, everyone, and good night, speakers. Thank you for sharing all the wonderful information with us tonight. My question is, in the early stages of both your businesses, like who was your first, the very early stages, with the idea stages, when you just started out, who were your first non-family or friend investors, and how did you convince them to invest in your business?
So it's an interesting story. Um, my husband and I were in business for a couple of years. We went into business together, and the business was not doing well. We had a lot of struggles. I was a teacher at the time, and he was more of a free entrepreneur. So he was doing his own business. And at a point in the 90s, when the dollar devalued and it was a struggle just to make the payroll and so forth, we decided we'd sell the business. And you know we were like, okay, but what price are we going to get for it? If it's losing money, how much money can you make? How much can you sell it for? So I said, okay, we're going to put our everything and we're going to make some money and build this company up. And then my husband found a good friend who was doing well in business, and we invited him over. And we had another one, and we started our own advisory committee. We didn't know that was what it was at the time, but they would come over for lunch every week. And based on our discussions, and this is why I advise all businesses to have your advisory committees. You can't do it alone. And from there, the business made so much money that we decided we weren't selling it again. So, put your hands to it, get your advisors, and your business can grow.
Yeah. So similar to Mrs. Strong, when I quit my job and we co-founded this company, Dr. Michael Banbury and Mr. Ryan Reed, it was a testing time. It was COVID. Everyone was hoarding their cash and not investing. The strategy that I took was one of persistence. I knocked on every door. I touched base with all of the colleagues and friends. Well, not friends, but all the colleagues and relationships I've had over the years. And I pitched them the idea, and we had some risk takers, and we had many no's, more no's than yeses, of course. But that's why I say persistence is critical in business. You can't give up. There were weeks when I've gotten just unlimited no's, but the ninth no, the next one may be a yes. So that's what we did. The three of us, when we founded the company, that was our strategy, just to be persistent and to find investors that were aligned with our vision. And it took us a while, but we got there.
Thank you. We have a question online from only seeing you as Bertram Jr. Bertram?
Yes, sir. Present. Good night, everyone.
Yeah, nine.
It's a question particularly to Mr. Chris. I'm fascinated with private equity. Um, is the rule of thumb that you invest in companies that you know how the industry works? Because it sounded like your view was wide, from petroleum to trade. Any is that true that you're confined, or it's best to work with in an industry that you know how to run?
Yeah, so excellent question. So what we do when we look for companies is pretty simple. I kind of follow a three rule. We only invest in businesses that we are capable of understanding. So we don't invest in businesses we don't understand. If someone comes to me with a business, some technology or something fancy, and it doesn't make sense, I don't invest in it. That's number one. Number two, we only invest in businesses and pay a price that makes sense. So, if something is too pricey or we don't, it has to, the price that we're paying for the business has to make sense. Um, and number three, what's critical is we invest in a management team that has integrity. I can't emphasize that enough. So integrity and talent from the management team. So those three things is sort of the rule of thumb that we use, when we look at investing. I mean, those are not everything, but that's typically, what we use.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Bertram. We have a question from amateur TikToker.
Oh, hi, good night.
Yeah, man.
All right,
Night. I
good night.
hearing you.
Oh, you hear me?
Yeah,
All
man.
right. So my question is for both Ms. Chung and Mr. Chris. All right. So my question to Ms. Chung is, you said that it's a family-run business. That's correct. How do you separate family relations from, let's say, professional relations? Say family conversations or professional conversations when you're running your business, because I do understand that it's a family run business. How do you balance the two? And my question for Mr. Chung, no, Mr. Young, I'm sorry, would be, in terms of the real estate section of First Rock. I'm not sure if you can speak to that. Um, I'm understanding that there's a lot of new high rises and a lot of new developments going into Kingston. So my question would be to Mr. Young is, what due diligence practices is First Rock now engaging in to ensure that the buyers of these properties or the buyers of these companies are legitimate? And yeah, that's basically my question.
I'll probably take mine first,
Okay.
since I think her answer may be a little bit longer than mine. So yeah, I would more than be happy to answer that, but I would want to invite my real estate colleagues, Denroy Pusey, who's the vice president of real estate, to answer that question when he is on this show, or does Stocks and the Rock. So I'll leave that question for when he is here.
Yes, because you are private equity.
Correct. I'm only focusing on private equity, so I would leave the expertise to him. I wouldn't want to give you some wrong advice.
All right, excellent. Mrs.
Yes.
Chung, that's a good question.
And that was a great
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
I really like it.
Yeah, that's why I
Um,
left. You can have the floor.
Yeah. Yes, and I'm ready for you. Yes. So, Honey Bun, I don't know if I misled you, but when I say it's a family run business, it's not just family. My husband and I are in the business, and our two sons. One of our sons manages operation, and our other son manages sales and distribution. So when we became public, that was one of the reasons when people asked me at the time, why did you become public? And part of the reason is because it's family, a lot of families in the business. We have a very strong family business in that we have what is called a family constitution. So this is where the family meets separately from the board, and we make rules for the family in the business. So we document the rules for the family in the business. This was something I knew nothing about until one of our advisors, Lawrence Nicholson from the Mona Business School, he kind of said, do you have a family constitution? And I was like, what's that? So now we offer training to our SMEs in how to manage family businesses. So I heard Nashana saying tonight, my children call me Mrs. Chung and Mr. Chung in the business. And when we have meetings, it's not family. It's definitely about the hat you wear, and you're just as accountable. You bring your reports to the meetings, and you're expected to perform as anybody in your capacity would perform. So you're judged by the numbers that you're able to produce, and we keep it very professional.
I have a follow-up question.
Yes.
So it's something I want to know as well. So I mean, your husband and your two sons, right? Um, it's a one of your sons from the sales and distribution side. Numbers are down 15%, right? Comes to the meeting, presents the report, says, "Mommy, Mrs. Strong, these are the numbers. We did this, and we underperformed here." Do you scold him like, "Look, you need to get this done within next quarter, or you might have a job here next quarter."
I don't think I speak to him like a mother. I speak to him like I would speak to you. You
Okay.
respect people and you ask them
Okay.
what happened and
Mhm.
what do you plan to do about it. So
Okay.
that's always the approach.
And
What
you
are
document
your
the action
plan?
items.
The action items are documented because you're having a formal meeting.
Mhm.
Somebody's taking notes. Somebody's writing down the action items. Somebody's putting the due date. And you're going to come back and you're going to report next week or the week after that on what you've done. And there's something about accountability.
Mhm.
And when you have to speak up about what you're doing, you're not going to get up and take it lightly. And if you take it lightly, the rest of the team are there to say, what's happening?
Is it that you instill the, can I say, a spirit of accountability in your children from earlier, before they came into the business, whereas they as individuals held themselves accountable? Because I'm thinking about some families where the kids might mommy,
No, 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 no.
yeah,
It was never like that. And I
mm,
think because we've been having this family
for a
constitution for
while.
a while, it's a part of the family culture now
Oh,
that, you just don't behave irresponsible. That's just not the culture.
that's a
Not the culture.
I might want to talk to you more
Yes,
about that.
we can
We have
invite you.
a last question from Capizel. Capizel, you can unmute.
Okay, good night, everyone. All right, so I'll just throw this question out, and either Mrs. Chung or uh,
Chris?
Chris, Mr. Young can answer. So my question is, how do you, as a young entrepreneur, attract investors without having to go out there after them? How do you basically set yourself apart so that even when you're doing what you set out to do, you're noticed without doing anything to draw attention. And my second question would be, as a young entrepreneur, sometimes we tend to be caught between different jobs that we like to pursue or different businesses that we like to start. If you are caught between two businesses, when do you know, or how do you know if you move forward with both, or if you just choose one and say, all right, I'm going in this industry and I'm going to leave this industry alone?
I'll answer the last one and let Chris take the first one. I believe that entrepreneurs, and I'm really happy to see our young people these days doing it, because in the olden days, your parents kind of guided you into what you need to grow up and do. And I think young people nowadays are doing what they're more passionate about. So I believe, caller, that if you choose, you need to make your heart make the choice for you. What are you passionate about? Because whatever you're passionate about is what you're going to do well in. When you wake up in the morning, you have to look forward to doing what business you're in. So, I could tell you to choose by which one is making more profit, and that would be a good idea too, but follow your heart. That's it.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, could you repeat the question, the first one?
Yeah, the first one. Mhm.
So the first one is, as a young business, how do you set apart yourself so much that investors will be attracted to you? So like you have a private equity, you do private equity. So instead of me coming to you, how do I set a standard for my business so that you would actually be the one coming to me? to invest?
So the advice I would give you is hard work, tunnel vision, that your results speak for themselves. You will be noticed, with performance. I'm a big believer in performance and respect, integrity. So just focus on your strategic plan. Have a clear strategy. Focus on that plan, and if you stay focused and persistent, you will be noticed, and I'll find you.
So
Thank you.
I want to probably add on, probably ask a question at the same time on the back of the same thing. I- For entrepreneurs, isn't it still somewhat recommended that, look, this is your equity at risk, or your cash sometimes at risk? You should still, even if you're not in a place where you're comfortable speaking about your business to others, you should still have a runway to the point where you it's something that you're going to have to do. It's something that you're going to have to be in a pitch, maybe a pitch room, or you're going to have to be in a position where so for example, I went to physio once. I went to physio for my knee, and I was structure a little physio thing, and I look up and I see one of the CEOs, one of the biggest banks in Jamaica. Right? You're an entrepreneur, you are in the position to talk directly to a CEO, and you have, let's say, 2 minutes. I call it like an elevator pitch, right? You have 2 minutes to speak to that person. Isn't it kind of recommended to kind of put yourself out there as an entrepreneur? I kind of get out of your own comfort zone.
Well, they say ships weren't made to stay in the harbor, right? So you should really take risks as an entrepreneur. What I would advise I would give to any new entrepreneur, or SME, is that don't avoid risks. You have to take risks, but you have to manage them. A lot of new entrepreneurs or SMEs, they want to keep their cash, and hoard cash, but you have to take risks. That's the only way you will grow. So that's the advice I would give, very quickly. Just take risks, and if you have a strategic plan, you'll see the results.
Thanks for that. So that's really it for the Q&A. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us online. So we're not done here. We usually drift from the harbor talk into kind of a discussion with everybody out here. So I wanted to give the guests, a last minute or two, just to, is there anything specifically that you'd want to leave with the audience, both live and online today?
Well, I would love to be able to just advocate for SMEs to recognize the power that they have among themselves to grow this country. Because you've heard it that the SMEs are the backbone, but we have to stand up and recognize that that's what you represent, the backbone of a country that has crime. Our economy is not good. And how are we going to solve it? How are we going to say one day? I know I have been to people and I've said, how did Singapore do it? Somebody's going to ask Jamaica one day when we succeed, how did Jamaica do it? And I'd love us to be able to see our SMEs did it. And so stand up and own this situation. It's not the government to solve the problem. It's not complaining to solve the problem. Get involved with making your business a business, and let us SMEs stop running hobbies. Get to know your financial reports. I said to a group of SMEs the other day, do you know what your profit margins are? No. Then how are you in business? Stop doing your hobby and make your hobby start to work for you. Make money. There's no sin in making money. Make tons of it, but find a way to get the help you need. I shared with you, our advisory board changed us at Honeybun. Our advisory boards will change these 7 companies. The associations out there who are hearing from us tonight, join the Honeybun Foundation. Use our advisory model to get companies that are in your association, and let's work as one Jamaica and stop having splintered ways in which we do things. So let's think about Jamaica and let's think about the children that we have growing up in this country. And let's just make I hate when I get preachy like this. Sorry. But yes, we have to get this country better. We want our children to live in it.
Chris?
Yeah, that's really hard to follow. Yeah, I want to just leave all the viewers with, just take risks. Um, there's so many things out there that we can do. SMEs, seek support. There's a lot of people out there to support you. Don't be afraid. Take the leap of faith when you have the chance. So go ahead and do it.
All right. Thanks again.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. I want to thank our sponsors that have been with us. Thanks to Digital, Dequity, and First Rock Private Equity as well for supporting us, ensuring that something like this can happen. Big up Visual Tech every time. Mark from Visual Tech and Jason. Jason is not from Visual Tech, he's separate. But Mark from Visual Tech and Jason, they really are the ones that put on this production like feel. If you've been here over the past few years, you would have known it's something that has grown tremendously over that period. So they're really the ones that are a backbone behind that. All right. So thank you. I think that's a wrap. All right. So we'll go into the discussion now. Guys, you can go to the bar. First Rock brought an entire bar today from Barcode. Yes, from Barcode. So big up Barcode. So you can go get something to drink. We should have sandwiches. The sandwiches are here now. Yeah, man. So we have sandwiches and things so you can get something to eat. Oh, whole heap more people there than I thought. Now that I'm behind the light. All right. So yeah, man. So we're just gonna start our discussion. Hi Vicky. Hello. Mark, Mark, make it this, please. It's on. Yeah, man. So we're about to start the other section of the discussion. 1 second.
The camera. No, I'm sorry. No, you said two screens. You know the very nice phone. Ready?
Right. All right. So for everybody that's in, yeah, man, that's good. Pitch deck, and for everybody else, yeah, man, I just wanted to have a discussion about that as well. All right. So everybody hearing me? Everybody good? Everybody good? All right. All right. The man over here, so mash up the sandwich. All right. So welcome everybody from Pitch Deck. Welcome to everybody else that typically joins us every month end. For Pitch Deck, I would have sent out the emails with those who are in the top 30. I would have also sent an email to those that are in the top 10. Right, so everybody should be aware of all the dates. The next date being March the first one, man, March the 6th. Right, come on, man. So we're gonna send out some collateral materials, some flyers and thing and everything with all the dates for pitch deck and thing. So you'll be getting that over the course of this week. So congratulations everybody, and we'll start to push the marketing pretty heavily over the ensuing weeks. So big up to all the companies. I really want to meet everyone. Saw some great pitches. I got introduced to a few of you. I see Power and Precision. I see XP. So yeah, man. Really want to talk to everybody. But I also wanted to have a discussion about managing your money like you're running a company. So not managing your company's money, which is separate. So Mrs. Strong, Kalila, go on, big up yourself. So not managing your company's money, but managing your personal finances like it's a Fortune 500. Check. Yeah. So I always tell people that if you get really serious about your personal finances and you put together your budget such that it even looks like an income statement. Everybody knows what an income statement looks like, and you put together your assets, what you have and what you owe, like a balance sheet. Then you can start to get a very good understanding of what you as a person have you know so one of the most important things that happened to me when I did that for myself is I saw for the first time how much equity I actually had. So you have a house, there is an asset part, and if you funded it with a mortgage, there is a debt part, right? So how much equity do you actually have in your home? How much equity do you have in your car? What's the size of your balance sheet? Are you under leveraged, meaning that do you have a lot of equity compared to your total assets? Can you afford to take on more debt to build your assets? Are you taking on too much debt to build your assets? So that's something that we'll be speaking more about over the ensuing weeks. Yeah, yeah. So we'll be doing that, speaking about that more over the ensuing weeks, kind of sharing some tips and tricks from our perspective as SOTR with everybody else. So as I said before, this is a kind of a pitch deck doubled up meet and greet. So you can meet your fellow entrepreneurs. Mrs. Strong is still here. Chris is still here. I see the barcode team is here as well, and a couple others. I see Garden hiding in the crowd somewhere. So yeah, so meet, greet, talk to each other, network, and this you'll probably your next deal for your business is probably somewhere here. Right? So thanks again for coming, guys. So I'm gonna sign off Twitter and then we can continue with our conversation. Hmm? Yeah, man. So this is how you start go around. Hmm? Yeah, man. So this is how you go around and you fix up. This man have power and precision pan him chest. Ask the man what him do. What kind of business that? What him do for him business? You have K-Dan Music. Big up yourself for the award, by the way. Um, Kalila is right. You know Kalila though. Right? So kind of go around and introduce yourself and even if you are not yet at the place where you are comfortable, me introduce you to everybody. Everybody, this is K-Dan. Him play music, the violin, him bad pan the violin. Whilst I play K-Dan,